Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be talking about and ranking the kind of flash animation Doctor Who stories from the early 2000s. So we're looking at the tail end of the Wilderness years, basically right before modern Doctor Who started in 2005, looking at the early 2000s animations. We had, I believe, 4 of these that came out, which was another basically look at people who grew up watching Doctor Who had gotten in positions where they could create content for Doctor Who and putting their own ideas, injecting their own thoughts into what Doctor Who is. These stories have a very different feel to them than classic Doctor Who, and also a different feel to them than modern Doctor Who. They have a very unique adult feel to them, some of them more than others, but they don't really feel like family television in some cases. They feel very adult-oriented, a little more graphic in places. So we're going to be looking at real-time Scream of the Shulka? I can't remember if there's an L in that. Shulka? I can't remember if there's an L in that. I could look, the DVD's right there, but I'm way too lazy for that. Real-time and Death Comes to Time. All of which, like I said, have their own unique feel, one to each other, from each other, but also from anything before or after them. Now, I don't just flat out love any of them. And of course we're looking at, that version of Shada, the 8th Doctor version of Shada. I don't flat out love any of them. I don't think any of them are like top tier Doctor Who. But I don't really hate any of them either. There's some of them I like more than others. I don't think any of them are just outright terrible. If I was ranking them, I would probably... And I have a feeling these rankings could change on the day, honestly. In 4th place, I'd probably have Death Comes to Time. Death Comes to Time, it's really hard to explain unless you've just seen Death Comes to Time. It is different. It's a 7th Doctor story where the Doctors basically died. You have stuff going on with Ace. With other Time Lords. You have another Time Lord, I think voiced by Stephen Fry. I can't remember what his name is, but he's like the something or another too on this planet. Wow, I don't actually remember a lot of what happens in this story, but I remember it has a very different feel to it, and has a very adult feel to it, very unique feel to it, and I enjoy it. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but it's enjoyable. It's kind of one of those stories you watch like maybe once every decade or so. Next on the list, I would probably put Real Time. This one's a little more familiar in my head, maybe because it has to do with the Cybermen. This one is very dark. It's a lot more graphic. It's a lot more adult-oriented. Even just the flash animation, when you see the half-converted Cybermen, like you see this one scientist, they find this portal, which looks kind of like a Stargate from Stargate, if my memory's working right, and one female scientist goes through, and when she comes out later, she's been like half converted into a Cyberman, but she's been enslaved to the Cybermen, and it's very graphic seeing these half converted people and seeing that happen more than once in the process of them being converted. It has the guy who plays Lee in the TV movie. It has him back playing a different character in this one, and I like his character in this one. And then you have the 6th Doctor in his blue outfit, and I like that he's traveling with an older companion. He's with Evelyn Smythe, and I don't know how much audio work Evelyn is in, but I like that the Doctor is traveling with an older companion. I think she's in like her 50s or 60s. I don't really know the details, but I think the idea of the Doctor traveling with an older woman that age is fascinating, because we don't really see that happen. I would have loved to see imagine a season where the Doctor traveled with Maggie Smith, with Dame Maggie Smith. That'd have been fascinating. That'd have been interesting. So it's kind of nice to see this dynamic where he's traveling with this older woman, a very strong-willed woman, very gets her way type, very argumentative to the Doctor in a way that actually works. It doesn't come off like it does with Clara, where it's just annoying. It works really well with Evelyn. I like her character. Even though I only know her for this story, I really liked her character. So that's a credit to the writing and to the actress performing her. I like there's a lot of backstory, plot, and lore with this story. We understand why the Cybermen are here, what's happening, how they ended up in this situation, how the timey-wiminess of it. There's a lot of timey-wiminess here. You'd swear Moffat wrote this thing with all the timey-wiminess. And a really good twist at the end that I didn't see coming that's phenomenally fantastic that I really need to get resolved at some point. This one's very enjoyable. Again, not one I would go back towards often. Again, it's very adult-themed and a lot more graphic. It feels, again, different than anything from Classic Who and Modern Who. It's its own separate entity and has a unique flavor to it, which is fascinating. Next on the list, I would probably, and it's really hard to pick between these two, I'd probably put Shada in second place, the 8th Doctor version of Shada, because at the time they were wanting to do this flash animation and this audio, and Tom Baker just, at the time, didn't want to come back and do Big Finish, and so they basically just did it with McGann. Although it does have a good explanation, lore-wise, why the 8th Doctor's having to do this. They tie it in with the events of the 5 Doctors and the Doctor being scooped out of time. And that actually works. It actually works. And, of course, they bring back Lalla Ward back as Romana, who's the president of Gallifrey at the time. And the 8th Doctor's like, hey, remember that thing we were going to do we forgot to do? Yeah, we need to go do that. And it works. I think Paul McGann is great in the role here. It's great to have Lalla Ward back. The animation is really good. While I prefer the 4th Doctor version, especially the episodic version on the Season 17 box set, I will always prefer that. There are some things this one does better. Some of the alien landscapes we see look better. Some of the alien designs we see. I like the way the prison looks. Shada. I like the way Shada itself looks better. I like the Professor a little better in this one in places, like when he's at the prison. He doesn't just randomly get hit by a ball. He actually tries to fight back first. I mean, I get why they did that in the animated version, because the actual actor had passed away. But I like how in the 8th Doctor version, he tries to fight back before he gets hit with the ball. I like that a little better. So there are little things in this version of Shada that work better. But overall, I still prefer the 4th Doctor version. But it's still a very enjoyable watch. I can see myself going back to it. And oddly enough, and this makes no sense to me, but the U.S. release, which is back here behind the chair where I can't get to it, the U.S. release of Shada, which we got in 2018, has that mini episode on it. What mini episode? The web episode. The 2003-ish 8th Doctor version of Shada, which is interesting because the UK version doesn't have it. The UK version does not have it. None of the UK releases have it. DVD, Blu-ray, Steelbook. The Season 17 box set does not have that. But the US release of Shada from 2018 has the 2003 version, or I think it was 2003. The 8th Doctor version of Shada is on that disc. That's how I watched it. It's on that disc. Where is it? Hang on. Here it is. The US version has it. I don't know if you can see it. It's there somewhere. I don't have my glasses on. But it's there. And if you pause that screen, you can find it. But the US version has it, and you can watch it. That's interesting to me that the US version has it and the UK version don't. Almost like they're saving it for a potential Wilderness Years box set. Because that would be the perfect spot for it. And number 1 on the list, I'd probably say Scream of the Shulka, I forget. First off, I really like Richard E. Grant's Doctor. I just do. I like this interesting version of the 9th Doctor. I always wonder if he actually is a version of the 9th Doctor before the Time War happened, and then the Time War happened, and it created ripples and echoes across time, future and past, to where it rippled back all the way to the 8th Doctor era and changed history, so where he never ended up regenerating into Richard E. Grant's Doctor. Maybe that's why Richard E. Grant's picture still showed up in Rogue, in the Shooty Got episode Rogue, is that originally, before history got interrupted by either the events of the Time War, or you could say the Toy Maker, since he made a jigsaw out of his life, that he did originally regenerate into the Richard E. Grant Doctor as the 9th Doctor, and then somehow that got retconned in time. It's an interesting concept. But I do like his Doctor a lot. I like the companion he has in this story. I don't remember her name. It's been a while, but I liked her. The story itself was nice. I enjoyed it. Again, I don't remember it that well. I've only watched it the one time. One of my subscribers sent it, and I found it very enjoyable. I liked the animation. I thought it looked good for for what it was. And then again, I feel like Richard E. Grant's performance just was carrying it. And I think it's interesting to look back at these stories because it was very rare to get this at the time. We're talking the early 2000s. Before Modern Who came back, I think when most fans would have considered the show dead, and it definitely a very niche thing. Most of the mainstream wouldn't know about it. So, and it was interesting to see throughout the Wilderness Years in general, just all of the strides and chances taken to keep Doctor Who alive in some form or another, be it with the BBVs, the real-time pictures, all the other spin-offs like Downtime, which is great, the Auton trilogy, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff like Returns to Devil's End, the videos with The Stranger in them, which I've never seen those, but I'm aware of them. And then even stuff like all of the books, the novels, Big Finish starting up and doing the audio, just the audios, the straight-up audios, Storm Warning, Sword of Orion, all that fun stuff. And then getting these animations, these 4 animations, which is kind of the closest thing we got to new episodes for a little while there. And just, it's interesting to see how different they are from Classic Who, and also how different they are from Modern Who, and how they're really their own thing. They have their own flavor to them. They have their own feel to them. And again, especially in some of them like Death Comes to Time and Real Time, how they have a much more adult, grown-up feel to them. Like the people who watched Doctor Who as kids had grown up. They had different sensibilities. They wanted to do different things. And that's fascinating to see. So I want to know what you think of these 4 stories from early 2000s Doctor Who and how you would rank them. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me on that. There is a link to that down there. I also have a P.O. Box if you'd like to support me on that. All that other fun stuff down there as well. Links to the Amazon wish list, etc., etc. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Androzani, Major, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.